Argentina had survived everything at this World Cup. Extra time, injuries, 2-goal deficits, late comebacks, even England. Then they reached the final against Spain and suddenly looked like a completely different team.
Spain, in the end, deservedly get the victory and defeat Argentina. One of the worst World Cup finals we have ever seen.
Minutes before kickoff, Lionel Messi stood in front of a strangely subdued dressing room and told his teammates to stay calm, focus only on football, and repeatedly forget about everything. Enzo Fernández looked emotional. Lisandro Martinez looked tense. The atmosphere felt nothing like the Argentina that had spent the tournament refusing to die. Then the match started. Argentina went 90 minutes without a single shot, finished the entire final with 0 shots on target, watched Spain dominate possession, and needed Emiliano Martinez to keep them alive until Ferran Torres finally scored in 106th minute. But this is where it gets uncomfortable. Before that final, the AFA was already connected to a real FBI-linked financial investigation. FIFA was assessing Argentina's controversial Las Malvinas son Argentina's banner after the England semi-final. Gianni Infantino was preparing for another FIFA election, and after the defeat, rumours exploded that something had happened behind the scenes before Argentina ever stepped onto the pitch. Yet, there is another side to this story. At half-time, Dibu Martinez was recorded demanding that Argentina attack and win. Messi demanded personality, and after the final whistle, Argentina's players were furious enough for FIFA to open another disciplinary investigation.
So what actually happened? Was Argentina simply exhausted and tactically suffocated by Spain? Or did the strangest World Cup final of Messi's career begin long before kickoff? This is why we investigated every clip, every rumour, every decision and all 120 minutes to find out whether Argentina were really forced to lose or whether the internet turned a bizarre defeat into the perfect conspiracy.
Why did Argentina look beaten before the final had even kicked off? Nobody was asking that question when Messi gathered his teammates in the tunnel at MetLife. It only started doing the rounds after Spain won 1-0 in extra time, once footage from inside the Argentina camp hit social media. Short clip, impossible atmosphere to ignore, Messi, standing among his players, not exactly delivering the fire and brimstone final day speech everyone expected. Calm, let's think about playing, nothing else. Forget about everything, just play. That one line, forget everything, is what turned the clip into a mystery once Argentina had actually lost. Because this wasn't supposed to be that Argentina. This was the team that made a whole personality out of not dying when they should. Cape Verde in the round of 32, pegged back twice, needed 120 minutes, scraped through 3-2. Egypt, 2-0 down with 12 minutes left, then Romero in the 79th, Messi levels 4 minutes later, and Lautaro finishes it in the 92nd. This team's entire brand was refusing to read the scoreboard. So when the same players looked flat and quiet before the biggest game of their lives, people noticed immediately. Fernández looked wound tight, Lisandro Martinez tense. A few just stood there while Messi talked. Cue the internet, worried, flat, already beaten. Here's where you have to slow down though. We can see the faces, we can't read minds. A player looking emotional before a World Cup final isn't proof of anything sinister. Messi was 39. Argentina were one win from becoming the first men's side since Brazil in '62 to defend the trophy.
Half the squad had just survived 3 brutal knockout rounds in a row. The occasion alone explains plenty.
And the clip wasn't even the full picture. Longer footage later showed Emiliano Martinez, Lisandro Martinez, Cristian Romero and Tagliafico still chatting normally on the walkout, nowhere near as funereal as the viral cut suggested. Turns out Messi's "forget everything" line wasn't even the main team talk. That had already happened in the dressing room with the full coaching staff. What went viral was just his final word before stepping onto the grass. Context changes the whole read. Still leaves the obvious question though, forget what exactly? Plenty of candidates as it happens. Argentina walked into that final already the most talked about team in the tournament for the wrong reasons. Accusations of favourable officiating following them the entire way, plus genuine hostility from rival fans over the team's conduct and political symbolism. Then England happened. Should have been remembered purely as one of the great comebacks. Gordon puts England up in the 55th, they hold it until the 85th, then Messi sets up Fernandez's leveller before teeing up Lautaro's 92nd minute winner. Instead, the story became the banner some Argentina players held up in celebration, Las Malvinas son Argentinas. The Falklands dispute, still raw, still a war Britain and Argentina actually fought in 1982, suddenly attached to a football celebration. Lisandro Martinez and Giovanni Lo Celso were among those holding it. British politicians were furious, and FIFA confirmed its disciplinary committee was reviewing the match. Political and offensive banners are banned under FIFA's own stadium rules.
So by the time Argentina reached New Jersey, they weren't just preparing for Spain. They were preparing for Spain while also facing a live FIFA disciplinary headache from one of football's most politically loaded rivalries. That alone gives "forget everything, just play" a perfectly reasonable explanation. But it's not even the biggest thing hanging over the squad. While the tournament was still being played, a completely separate story broke. Claudio "Cheeky" Papier, hundreds of millions of dollars, and American federal investigators. And crucially, unlike everything that surfaced after the final, this one was public knowledge before Argentina ever lost to Spain. 12 days out from the final, reporting emerged that the FBI and US federal prosecutors were looking into financial activity tied to the Argentine Football Association. Businessman Guillermo Tafoni had reportedly been called to testify in Miami, with investigators chasing money moved through US-based accounts connected to AFA's commercial dealings, north of $300 million, with Tapier's position potentially exposed. American jurisdiction makes sense here too. Run money through US banks or US-registered companies, and federal investigators get a legitimate reason to look. None of that means Tapier's guilty of anything. None of it implicates a single player, and none of it, on what's actually known, had anything to do with match results. But it did mean the head of Argentina's federation was under real institutional pressure while their team chased the trophy. Then, after the final, journalist Eduardo Feynman threw a much wilder log on the fire, claiming a rumor had circulated pre-match that FBI agents were at the stadium to detain Tapia, possibly even trying to get into Argentina's dressing room, and that it had rattled the whole delegation. Suddenly, "forget about everything" reads like a smoking gun to anyone looking for one. Except, nobody has produced a shred of evidence any of that actually happened. No confirmed arrest, no verified raid, no FBI statement, no AFA statement, no proof any player was pressured or threatened. Even the reporting on Feynman's comments is careful to call it a rumor, not a confirmed event. That distinction matters enormously. The AFA investigation is real. The alleged FBI operation at MetLife is not verified at all. Same shaky ground under the Tapia vanished theory, except Tapia kept up his usual pre-match photo with Messi throughout the tournament, and there's footage from final day itself of him with Messi and De Paul. Doesn't tell us what was happening behind closed doors, but it torches the idea he mysteriously disappeared. Same story with the Messi's family skipped the final. Antonella had been visibly following the whole campaign, was seen celebrating after England, and was reportedly getting ready to support Messi against Spain the day before kickoff. Not appearing on camera during the broadcast isn't the same as not being there. That's exactly how these theories snowball. Absence from the feed becomes absence from the building, which becomes evidence of foreknowledge. None of that chain actually holds up. Same with the Diego Simeone theory. Visible supporting Argentina all tournament, less visible for the final, and that gap got inflated into he attended every match and mysteriously skipped the one that mattered. Interesting observation, not evidence. Then FIFA politics gets dragged in too. Infantino announced in Vancouver on April 30 he's running again in 2027, and with 211 member associations each holding a vote, relationships with confederations matter enormously. Q theories. Did a Spanish European champion help him politically? Was Argentina simply an inconvenient winner? Plausible questions to ask, zero evidence of an actual deal. No leak, no vote trading arrangement, no witness, nothing. And here's the tell that the whole theory eats itself. Before the final, the story was FIFA wanted Argentina to win. After the final, some of the same crowd flipped it to FIFA wanted Argentina to lose. When a theory survives either outcome, it stopped being a theory and become a religion. None of which means nothing strange was going on. There genuinely was an FBI-linked investigation to AFA. Tapia genuinely was under scrutiny. FIFA genuinely was reviewing the Malvinas banner. Infantino genuinely is running again. Argentina genuinely had become the tournament's lightning rod. And Messi genuinely told his players to forget everything and just play football. All of that explains why the conspiracy took off. None of it proves FIFA told Argentina to lose. And there's still one detail the whole theory conveniently skips over: the football itself. This was a team that had scored 19 goals en route to the final, come back from 2-0 down to Egypt, scored twice after the 84th minute against England, and made a habit of resurrecting dead matches. Then they played Spain and didn't manage a single shot in 90 minutes. Not one. Their first attempt of the entire match didn't arrive until extra time. The politics built the suspicion. The FBI story built the uncertainty. The banner gave the theorists a motive. Messi's words gave them a mystery. None of it proves a fix. Then the match kicked off, and what happened on the pitch is what really made people wonder if any of it meant anything after all.
If Argentina had really been told to lose this final, the match itself is exactly where that theory should hold up best. And on paper, it looks like it does. Spain had roughly 65% of the ball, fired off 20 shots, 12 on target, and had Dibu Martinez working overtime all night. Argentina, the same team that had banged in 19 goals to get here, finished the full 120 minutes without a single shot on target. Their first attempt didn't even arrive until extra time, completely unrecognizable from the side that clawed its way to New Jersey. Because up to that point, Argentina's whole identity was refusing to go quietly. Cape Verde took them to extra time. They survived 3-2. Egypt had them 2-0 down with 11 minutes left. They still won 3-2. Switzerland dragged them to extra time again. England was still ahead after 84 minutes in the semi before Fernández and Lautaro turned it around in stoppage time. This was a team that specialized in not dying. Against Spain, they barely attacked at all. Doesn't mean they stopped trying though. Spain's setup explains a lot of it. De La Fuente's side controlled things through Rodri in midfield, stretched Argentina wide with the fullbacks, and Lamine Yamal kept Scaloni's block honest and cautious all night. Argentina sat deep rather than press aggressively, because leaving gaps behind midfield against this Spain team in transition is basically an invitation to lose. Gonzalez did his defensive shift out wide. Messi stayed higher up, waiting for the one moment Argentina needed. The gamble wasn't outplay Spain, it was survive, deny the middle, and hope one transition, or penalties with Dibu between the posts, would settle it. For 90 minutes, it worked. still 0-0. Then the legs went. Argentina had already played extra time twice, against Cape Verde and Switzerland, and ground through brutal finishes against Egypt and England. Spain, by contrast, hadn't needed extra time once on their way to the final, so it's not exactly shocking that Argentina's backline started falling apart physically. Lisandro Martinez off injured in the 44th, Romero followed after 70. Montiel already subbed at right back earlier in the tournament. Scaloni pointed out afterward that 3 of their 4 defensive positions had effectively been changed by attrition, and still admitted, fair and square, that Spain were the better team. This isn't Argentina lacking the will to attack, it's Argentina running on fumes after 2 straight weeks of extra time survival football. Then Enzo Fernández made it worse, booked in the 82nd for arguing a decision, then in the 93rd, already on that yellow, caught Kubasi late with his knee. Vincic showed the second yellow immediately, and even former referee Iturralde Gonzalez backed the call as a fair booking for a genuinely late challenge. Argentina went into extra time with 10 men, and this is exactly where the fixed referee theory falls apart. Spain themselves had goals ruled out in extra time, and by most readings, Paredes was lucky to stay on the pitch after picking up further fouls already booked. That's not a script written to hand Spain the trophy, that's just a chaotic, card-heavy extra time cutting both ways. Even down a man, Argentina didn't just fold. Spain needed 106 minutes to actually break them. Porro crosses to the back post, Nico Williams heads it back across goal, and substitute Ferran Torres finishes first time into the roof of the net. Only then did the dam finally go. For a team supposedly told to hand the trophy, they made Spain absolutely earn every inch of it.
And then, arguably the strongest evidence against the whole quiet surrender theory, they lost their minds after the final whistle. Paredes squared up to Spanish players and it spilled into a proper confrontation. Molina and Rodri were in their own flashpoint, and Argentina assistant Roberto Ayala shoved Dani Olmo. Paredes got himself sent off after the match for it, and FIFA appointed a disciplinary investigator to look into Argentina's conduct. Some players even turned their backs during Spain's trophy lift. That's not the body language of a team quietly accepting a script. That's a team that just lost something they desperately wanted. Then another clip surfaced. Dibu Martinez's halftime team talk, match still goalless. No hint of surrender in it whatsoever. He was demanding they play forward, get the ball to Messi faster, telling his teammates flat out they had to win. Messi followed with his own version. Argentina had shown character all tournament, why stop now? Try reconciling that with the squad knowingly walked out there under orders not to become champions. Good luck. Put every piece side by side and the conspiracy starts wobbling under its own weight. Yes, Argentina walked into this final with a real FBI-linked investigation hanging over AFA. Yes, FIFA really was reviewing that Malvinas banner. Yes, Infantino really is chasing another term. Yes, Messi really did say forget everything. Yes, the squad looked genuinely subdued beforehand. And yes, they produced arguably the flattest attacking performance of the Scaloni era. Understandable that people got suspicious, but suspicious circumstances aren't a fix. There's no leaked order, no document, no player anywhere claiming they were told to lose, no confirmed FBI presence in that dressing room, no link between Tapia's legal troubles and a match result. And the football itself argues the other way just as hard. Argentina held a clean sheet for over 100 minutes, played extra time a man down, had their captains on camera demanding a win, and reacted like a team robbed the moment it slipped away. There's even an eerie parallel. 1990s final. Defending champions Argentina outplayed, Maradona neutralized, 2 red cards, West Germany winning 1-0 on a late Bremer penalty. The idea that Maradona, or Pele for that matter, ever admitted throwing a World Cup final has never held up to a single credible interview. It's folklore, not fact, which exposes the real problem here. Controversial calls that helped Argentina got read as proof FIFA wanted Messi. Then Argentina lost and the very same crowd flipped it into proof FIFA wanted Messi to lose. Clips get stripped of context, body language becomes a verdict, a real investigation gets exaggerated into an imaginary stadium arrest, and coincidence gets dressed up as conspiracy until the theory can somehow explain either result. Argentina clearly carried more into that final than just a football match. Something was weighing on a squad that was both exhausted and politically surrounded. But after all of it, the footage footage, the referee, the FBI story, the full 120 minutes, nobody has produced the one thing that would actually turn suspicion into fact, proof Argentina were told to lose. Until someone does, this stays what it is, an extraordinary, strange final, not evidence that FIFA fixed it.